Hey, Momnesia friends, thanks so much for joining us today. As most things in life, the recording for season 3 of the Momnesia Podcast has been put on hold. We can't get into the recording studio, but that doesn't mean that we don't want to collect your stories, some corn stories. Those are fun. So we're connecting with our Momnesia community just to check in on people, see how everyone's doing, and see if we have any good stories to share. And today, our guest is Eric Billin. Eric, welcome. Can you hear me?
Hey, it's good to be here today.
Hey, thanks so much. It's so good to see your
Yes.
face.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I'm not a mom, but I'm excited to be on the Momnesia
Yeah, we
podcast.
thought we would incorporate some of our dads into this. We have lots of dad fans, and what a perfect time to have them share their stories when we're all stuck at home together, moms and dads included. Would love to hear your dad stats. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Um, so I'm married to my wife, Jordan, and we have 3 kids. And Brecken is 6, and Porter is almost 3,
Oh my
and
goodness.
Moxie, our daughter, is about 8 months. So we've got 2 boys and a girl, and it's great.
And that is quite the range. I'm not sure how I would be able to handle this with toddlers, young kids, and an infant. How is that going for you guys?
It's going pretty well for the most part. We feel fortunate. My mother-in-law has kind of been quarantining with us,
Oh,
so we have
really?
an extra set of hands, which has been helpful. Gives us a chance to go off and do some work, or even just get out with Jordan and I for a walk or whatever. So we feel pretty fortunate that that's been the case.
Oh
But
my
there are
God.
crazy times when, you know, 6-year-olds certainly don't need the same kind of entertainment that 3-year-olds need. So we're hanging in there. It's going well, but we're ready to break out when this is all done too.
I'm sure. And tell us a little bit about, you said you got to get some work done. Tell us about your work life. What do you do?
Yeah, I work at Eastside Church in Anderson. I am the director of worship there, so I oversee our music teams and some of our technical teams for Sunday service implementation. And then, yeah, that's been weird too because we're not meeting in person.
Sure.
So work life has totally changed as far as what ministry and creating services. That flow is totally different right now, but it's also been a unique challenge. I'm an 8 on the Enneagram, and I know you're an 8 too, so that's great.
Yes.
So I enjoy tackling new things and trying, experimenting in challenging ways. So anyway, I'm pretty excited actually about the new season that we have in ministry and what that looks like going forward. So
We were just talking about that before we got started trying new things. This is me trying something new. What's something that you've tried new during this time?
well, we have a choir occasionally at the church, and so we decided that we would try to figure out a way to have a virtual choir
Okay.
for our Easter service. And so we had like 40 singers from our church and a few from Central Indiana. I know Sarah was on there too.
Yes.
And we did a virtual choir for our Easter service, and that was something I'd never thought I would do, and a lot of learning. People have asked me how I did a Zoom choir, and it certainly does not work to just get a bunch of people on Zoom.
Yeah.
But we had a cool team of people doing that, and that's been an exciting project to have worked on. So yeah, that, and there's a lot of other new things about services and online streaming platforms that I didn't know,
Oh my
but have
goodness.
learned out of necessity. So, but it's
I
all
am
exciting. I'm enjoying it.
very cool.
So
Very cool. And Jordan is a teacher. How is that
yes.
going for Jordan?
She's hanging in there. It's very different, obviously, to teach and educate while you're not in the presence of your students or other teachers. She's a kindergarten teacher, which I think is unique in that they've
Totally.
chosen to do paper packets instead of e-learning for the kindergartners. And so she's just basically trying to check in with her families and parents and have Zoom calls with her kids so that they can stay connected. But I think the most difficult part for her is not being able to end of the year. That's one of her favorite times. So it's been a challenge, probably more for her as far as what work looks like, and the disappointments around ending that differently than she had hoped, because fortunately she'll get to see them again though, when they all do come back together in the building. So
I was one of those mean moms that pranked my kids on April 1st, telling them that they would have to repeat the same grade. And while it was a prank, I'm so sad. We have two amazing teachers right now, and I'm sure that that's how many people in Jordan's class feel as well. When you have an amazing teacher, like, you want your kids to soak up all that goodness from them. And I'm so sad that my kids, Mrs. Bennett and Mrs. Tarvin, that they're not going to be able to spend that time with them. So it's sad all the way around, for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, we love telling stories here at Momnesia. So we were just curious, do you have any stories from quarantine to share with us? Either one you want to remember, one you wish you could forget?
I suppose the one I would remember is I'm pretty I like to be structured and know what's going to happen. I don't live well in the unknown.
Preach,
I've even
brother.
had these dreams where my teeth are falling out.
Yes.
And I was reading
I was reading that all the time,
where your teeth fall out because that means that you're stressed from lack of control and whatever.
Yes.
So that's where I'm living. But I'm also trying to embrace that so much is unknown. And last weekend, we just decided we were going to get 7 yards of mulch, and it was time to get the yard looking decent.
7 yards.
Whatever.
I mean, you guys have a big yard, but 7, that is insane.
Yeah, it was a big pile. And then our kids were super interested in helping. And again, with the structure thing, it's I have this thought as to how it's going to go. And my boys just came out and they ripped literally all of their clothes off, and got down into their underwear or diaper in Porter's case, and their rain boots, and just started grabbing their shovels and digging away and throwing mulch everywhere. And it took me 5 minutes to be okay with this chaos, but in the end,
lots of deep breathing.
Yes, yeah. So we spent probably 2 hours just playing in mulch, and I was moving it as I could, and it was a dyed mulch, and Porter was rolling in it. So I mean, he's just covered in this brown dye. Anyway, it was I guess a story to remember, in that I had probably more fun in that 2 hours than I've had through the quarantine. And really, it was just about, I got to let go of the control. This isn't going to go how I want, but it is a lot of fun, and it's going to be a really great memory. So I would say that's not only a story, but a lesson as well. Yeah. So you can probably hear it. Did you hear Moxie crying?
I didn't. I would love to hear her. Oh, she is so sweet. Those cheeks. Oh my goodness.
They're heading out for a walk.
And I am sure that those boys had an absolute blast out there with Dad. Yes. Hopefully it was on one of those sunny days that we've had recently, and not too cold.
Yeah, it was.
They were
awesome.
Running around in their underwear.
Yes. Yeah. Even if it's cold, they run around in their underwear. Porter was jumping on the trampoline naked, giving the neighbors a show the other day. So anyway, we've kind of thrown the rules and structure out the window, and embracing the chaos. So yeah,
I started off really strong with the structure for myself and the family. We like to instill our structure on others. That did not go well for anyone. And we kind of went through a cycle of just kind of a free for all. And while the rest of the fam was okay with that, I was just heading to a dark place. And I was like, okay, this is not going to work for me. So I had to kind of revamp and say, okay, how am I going to make it through this time? And for me, like you, it's structure. And so even if it's not structure for everyone, it's structure for me. It's going to bed on time, making sure I'm drinking water, making sure that I do my meditation or yoga each day, spend some time outside. If I don't get those elements in, then I'm a wreck. And I take out my anger and rage on anyone who crosses my path. So
Yeah.
finding those
That would
rhythms.
probably be that would be my story to forget, is the number of times that my lack of structure has turned into somebody else on a receiving end of what they don't deserve.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm checking my teeth every morning to make sure they're still there. And,
do you also have, besides the teeth dreams, I always have a dream that I'm either in high school or in college, and I realize that I have not gone to a class all semester, and there is a project or test or something that's due, and I have to figure it out real fast. Do you have that one?
Yes, mine are usually related to work, in that
Okay.
I show up to a service and it's supposed to be time to do the rehearsal right before the service, and I haven't planned anything.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, but I have the college one too. Mine is usually that I didn't do the class and I realized it like 10 years later, and then they're ripping the diploma that I already had out from me. So anyway, yeah, us people with control issues, we have it rough.
We do, man. This quarantine is not for those who like structure. Yes. Well, thank you so much, friend, for spending some time with me. For those of you who aren't familiar with the podcast, we hope that you'll check it out. You can go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, your favorite podcast player. If you'd subscribe, rate, and review, we would greatly appreciate it. And we hope that you'll share this with a friend. We're getting a YouTube channel started. So if you love spending time on YouTube, you can catch the podcast there, as well as these core and story videos that we're collecting over this time. If you have a story that you'd like to share, reach out to us on Facebook. We'll connect with you and find a time to record your story to share it with the world. Thanks so much, everybody. Stay home, stay healthy.